There is something that every great ball striker does, and it works for their irons, their woods, and their driver. Now, it's ultimately their ability to control the angle in their trail wrists as they're coming through impact. Now, a lot of people have tried to do this, but they always do it incorrectly, robbing them of speed and actual strike. In this video, I'm going to show you how you too can control the angle of this trail wrist coming through impact to give you an unbelievable strike, but more importantly, maintain a hell of a lot of speed coming through. Now, before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos just like this every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below. So this is the first little exercise I'd love you to do to kind of feel it. So you can do this on a golf course. It's pretty straightforward. Take the club, move your hands opposite your trail leg here, okay? Put the club down. Then what I want you to do is this. I'm going to get you to drag the club, push down on the shaft here, but drag the club where the hands are working to square the club face up like this, okay? Notice the direction of my hands. My hands here are opposite my right leg, but where are they going? They're actually working on an arc to the left, and this is the thing that most people get wrong, okay? Most people who are trying to hold the trail wrist angle here to get that strike are basically doing this. They're driving their handle forward, so they try to keep the trail wrist angle in the wrist, leave the face wide open, hit shanks, massive pushes. So they do that once or twice, and then what do? Straight away, bang, in comes the flick of the wrist just to kind of recover that, okay? What I want you to feel is this, it's super, super important. First thing, pad of the trail hand, push it down. When the hand's opposite trail leg, the hand path now works left of target. The face, look, is slightly open, so I'm now gonna square that face up, look, with rotation. And I'm pressure, I'm not squaring up with a flick, okay? Now you could just simply take that, before we go into big full swings, you could take that feeling, okay, and play some small shots where you get the sensation here. Don't hit the golf ball with your hands. From here, look, we're gonna work that club with my hands, look, towards my left leg to square that club face up. But look, I'm naturally maintaining, look, the angle in the right wrist because there is no throw in here. I'm working it back, and I'm releasing it through. And you're going to ask in a second, well, how do you generate speed from that? I'm going to show you in a second. So let's start with some small shots first, then we'll build up to a big one. So that's a beautiful strike. And what you should see on the slow-mo picture here is that I've been able to maintain the angle in my trail wrist as I'm going through impact here. This is super, super important if you want to get that beautiful compression. But is it easy? Yes, it is, but you do need to understand that you could completely lose this in the backswing. That's really important when we start to move to the fuller clubs. So what I mean by that is this. You can see here, look at my trail arm at setup. This bit is pointing towards you. And when it's coming in, that elbow is in front of my trail hip here. This is where compression is. But to get that and to make it easy to achieve that, you want to look after this trail arm all the way through into the backswing. Notice here, as I'm swinging it back here, I've still got what I would call compression in this trail arm. It's solid, it wants to come down onto this golf ball. Most of the people I'm coaching, I don't know if you're the same, you're losing it. You're pulling in here. You're rolling your wrist. You've lost all of it. Now suddenly you can still play. You could get away with it. But now what you've got to do is you've got to somehow find it on the way down. That's really difficult. Instead, what I want you to do is look, feel that pressure on that club here, right? Look at my trail, it's inside here. Then what I'm going to do, look, this is the axis, I'm going to rotate around it. The simplest way I know to help people achieve this is you've got two places to go to. Point your palm away from the target. If you do that, the trail elbow will sit down and you've still got compression here. Do this, it's popped out, right? Then, if you can and you've got enough flexibility, start to point it towards the ceiling. Again, what have we got? We've got compression in this trail arm. Now, look, we simply just work that back down, look, from here, straight back down to the golf ball. And then, if you can, the better players, people even much better than me, like someone like a Minwoo Lee, he's able to hold this all the way through impact here, incredibly, incredibly well. That's what I want to play around with. But you might be asking while we're doing this, but where's the release? Where's the catapult, okay? The catapult comes from this. See, as the club comes in, the club naturally, look, works on an arc. And as your hands start to, the club grip end here works in towards the body, which is what we've just done in step one, that catapults the club, look, out to the golf ball. That is where speed is, all right? So we are not advocating this. This is where most people try to achieve it. Straight down the line, no catapult, face wide open, forcing flicks here. We've got pressure in our arm, we're bringing that pressure down, and from here, look, we're working that hand path left of target to square up that club face, look. That, by the way, is where the speed comes from and the strike, okay? So let's start seeing how this works with the other clubs. And that is an absolute bullet. Okay, so I put like a little half shot there with a 5-wood, and that's gone off like an absolute rocket. Now, what I want you to do when you're working on this, okay, is just work on it in a really small way. And what you do with the woods is a lot of people feel like, well, surely, Dan, if you keep compression with the woods, you're not going to get any height. Well, it all depends on where the ball position is. If you move the ball slightly further forward in your stance with your woods, so maybe middle of the stance or just ahead of middle with an 8-iron and gradually move it forward, you're already going to have, in a sense, slightly more loft on that club at impact. But you still want to have that beautiful power position here with this trail elbow stuck inside here, creating this kind of backward hinge of that trail arm. And to create this in your full swing, like I said, you point your palm out towards the camera here. This sits that trail elbow down. If you've got the flexibility, you keep moving, okay? Then you leave the club alone here, and all we're going to do now is bring in the sense, try and get the face hitting the golf ball, like a square up to the ball, by moving the palm of the hand back in towards the lead leg here. This is ultimately, that gives you that compression every single time. Then we just continue that pressure, look, on the way through. When I work on this personally, I almost feel like I've maintained it almost to here. I really feel like I exaggerate it. You'll see on camera I never actually do, but this is how I then personally create the catapult, because as soon as I get that club moving left here, okay, I really catapult that club through impact. Just one word of caution as you do this. You must make sure that you've made that turn in order to do this. If all you've done is lifted the hands up, if you try and go left with your body, you're going to be straight over the top. Notice this, as I'm swinging here, look, my hands are working, look, from here in towards my body, but I'm still, look, straight down the target line here, okay? I'm not driving, and I'm not up here coming across the line, okay? So let's hit one more, and then we'll hit driver to show you the difference with driver. Simple as that. So that's an absolute scorcher down there. So let's see what we do with the driver. So doing anything at full speed like hitting driver is always going to be tricky. So let's keep this simple for driver. Just imagine here, you're setting this trail elbow in place, and what you're going to do is it's almost like a forehand shot in tennis. You're keeping what feels like the racket of the strings facing down, but what you've done is you're going to angle the body at setup slightly up here, so now the trail shoulder is going to be a lot lower than it was with the irons and the fairway woods off the ground, and you're in a launch position where the ball's opposite your heel now, and all you're going to do is you're going to maintain the wrist angle through impact. The difference is now what you're going to do is the upward flight is not just caused by the loft of the golf club, it's also caused by your angle of attack, the attack that you're coming into it. But we're not getting the ball up in the air with a flick, because again, we know that is weak and you'll lose all control, okay? So that's simple as that. Just imagine you're hitting the ball up the backside, trail elbow sticking very close to you here, and you're keeping that pressure on that shaft for as long as we possibly can. Let's have a look at this in action. Just like that. Okay, that's an absolute beauty. So, hope you enjoyed this video. This is one of the big secrets to playing great golf and striking the ball absolutely amazing. Control the trail wrist angle, super important. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with one of your friends who's struggling with their ball striking. And remember, look, if you want to see videos like this one, do check out this one right here, where I personally get a lesson from what I think is the world's best golf coach, Pete Cowan, who has given me something very similar to work on, because just like you, from time to time, I get my hands way too active. So this is a brilliant drill, not just for amateur golfers, but for professionals who are trying to get better just like me. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.